Hello and welcome to My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. Oh man, they say Friday is the end of the week, but here in the cricket world, it's just the beginning of all the action. You've got 4 games on the weekend, you've got 1 game today, you've got all the teams in action, and more importantly, you've got some changes that we need to talk about. Change is the only constant. And reaction to the change is even more of a constant. We will be doing just that today. I'm just giving my guests a moment to just calm down because they're very agitated with the goings-on in the world, in the UAE. I have with me Simon, Doull Joy Bhattacharjya. Simon, your and my only job today is to remind Professor Bhattacharya that there are 2 teams playing this evening.
That's it. There's 2 teams. He's got to remember that. You know, Mumbai and Kolkata. Mumbai is a big city too, Joy. That's what you've got to remember. It is a big city. It's an important place as well. Okay? 2 teams.
I think maybe we just make it easier for Joy. Joy, we love you. You're like a brother to us. A much older brother, but a brother. I just want to make... Let's just do one thing. Kolkata has won the toss and they're going to be batting first. Mumbai has just made 1 change. We spoke about it last night. They've just, dividing the load between their pace bowlers. Dropped Pattinson, got in Kutanile. And Kolkata have changed their captain for the next 24 minutes. Joy Bhattacharya, go!
I have to say, though, I have a PhD in KKR captains. That you can't deny me.
So I'll tell you, Joy's reaction is, 1 second, 2 captains in a season? I've done 4 captains in a match. Amateurs. Your first reaction, Joy, when you heard the news?
My first reaction when I heard the news was that it had to come from him. Because if it's not from him, it would have happened at the start of the season itself. I think if they had to do this as a team management decision, it should have been done before the season started. You've got Morgan in the auction, go and finish it off. I don't think the KKR management halfway through the season would have wanted to change a captain. But I think Dinesh Karthik looked all around, realized that he had a lot on his plate as a player. And anyway, I think KKR, the way they're set up, it's a lot of Eoin Morgan is doing a lot of pseudo captaincy at mid-on, mid-off. Brendan is doing a lot of things. You can see him with even the walkie-talkie talking to the fielders on the outfields. Messages are going into the captain. So in any way, there's a lot of support. It's not that DK is necessarily carrying all the load. So I don't think it's as big a change as you think it is. I think for DK, it's a big change saying that, look, let me just free my mind of this. I've got enough troubles in my head. I don't want to do this.
Oh, Simon, that's a far more timid reaction than I expected from Mr. Bhattacharya.
I need a little sip of my tea.
Yeah.
I need a little sip of my coffee.
Cynics you are.
Just to ponder that. Look, why now, though? That's what I don't get. I'm just not sure why now. It's 4 and 3. He's not 1 win from 6 games. He hasn't done a bad job. No, he hasn't been the best captain in the tournament by far, but he hasn't done a bad job. And I don't understand. Now, I, for one, and I know we talked about it, Joy, last year, we thought when Brendan McCullum, when the KKR management were going to go for Eoin Morgan, they were buying a captain. We all thought that. Now, they've got that captain. It's just happened a little bit later than we thought. So I don't understand why now when they're not going that badly. That's the only thing I would say. I thought that they were buying Eoin Morgan in the auction to captain the side. When that didn't happen, then maybe DK was going to be it, Joy. And, he should have been it for the season. I just don't quite get right why now.
Exactly. So that is the Joy. I just want to add to what Simon is saying, because historically we've seen captain changes. We've seen mid-flight call sign changing, right? But it's only happened when a team is going really badly and you need to do something drastic to reboot it, right? So Ricky Ponting does it when he says, all right, I don't make a place in this 11, right? So he says, I'm going to go. Gautam Gambhir does it because he says, I'm just not the player that I am. Remember, and again, just to put in perspective, Ricky Ponting, World Cup winning captain. Gautam Gambhir, two IPL winning captain, right? So these are people who've proven their chops. They're saying our place is not there as a player, right? So I want to leave. This is different, which is why it's just ringing. I don't know, and you know the management, but it's just ringing weird to me.
It is, but that's exactly what I'm saying. why would KKR need to change the captain? If it's a management decision, why would KKR need to change the captain where anyway captaincy or taking decisions is a collective call? And that's what KKR has been saying all season. That, you know what, Brendan and Eoin Morgan and the team management, we are all taking a call. Why bother to change it?
No, we see this with so many teams. There are so many teams. Virat Kohli, you see, sometimes there's AB captaining. There's Finch. Parthiv Patel would take a call sometimes from behind the stumps. We see it. It's not unique that DK is keeping, and you've got Brendan running the play. We've seen it with India. Virat sometimes is at long off, and Dhoni's running the play from behind. It's a team, right? And seniors will always pitch in, which is why this pseudo captain standing in mid off, does not ring as a reason for me. I'm just going to throw one more cat amongst the pigeons by just putting this thought out to the two of you. Sometimes you can just create an environment where a person gets insecure enough where they just voluntarily want to leave.
I've felt like that on Cricbuzz before, actually, when I've been under pressure from you two. You know, it's times when I've just about walked out the door and just gone and sat and had a risotto.
And I stop you with the risotto. That's how I buy your love, with the risotto.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, maybe they have.
Just saying, I'm just devil's advocate. That's all.
I know what you're saying, and I mean, I don't for one second think that Eoin Morgan and Brendan McCullum have a malicious agenda.
Of course.
And it's just, I don't know. Look, time will tell. This may not be successful. It's what we wanted. I think it's what I suggested. What I thought would happen was he would get the captaincy for the start of the IPL. It didn't happen. So I didn't mind DK getting the job. Will this be successful? No guarantees whatsoever. And if it's DK's decision, then good on him. I said last year, or 2 years ago, sorry, he was the best man to be at that World Cup for India as a 13th, 14th, 15th man, because he is genuinely a lovely guy and a team first man.
Yeah.
And if he's done it for those reasons, then, you know, hands up and good on him.
Yeah.
No, I completely concur with you. If we had to, I would have loved to change the captain at the start of the season, because DK, when you have somebody the quality of Eoin Morgan, see, last year when DK was captaining in 2019, if you looked around that dressing room, who would you make captain? Robin? Who are the other senior players? Robin? Piyush? You can't. Yeah. And if you look at the international stars, your stars, Andre and Sunil, are not communicative guys. They're not the guys you make captain. So DK would have looked around, and even if he had wanted to, he would have looked around and said, you know what, this doesn't make any sense. So that's what I'm saying. What I felt might have happened is, even when this auction thing happened, you know, they got Eoin Morgan. Knowing DK, he would have been the first to call up and said, you know what, great choice, fantastic, you know, he can take over captaincy. And somebody at some point must have just turned around and said, no, you're our captain, he stays our captain. And then just that bad call got perpetrated through. Because really, if you have to do it, it had to be done then. And I'll tell you one thing, DK wouldn't have the slightest issue with it. He's not at the stage in his career when he's ambitious. B, it doesn't really matter to Eoin Morgan. Let's be honest, he's won a World Cup. A World Cup. You know, for him to say that, you know, I'm going to be a successful IPL captain, I'm sorry, guys. I mean, that Eoin Morgan has passed that stage when he needs to win an IPL to prove his credentials as a cricketer. So let's leave that aside. So that's my point, that I think DK did it himself. I wish it had happened at the start and not in the middle. It may still work out for KKR, but it would have been better had this darn thing been sorted before a tournament started. As I will tell you from 2009, after it starts, it's not a good idea.
That is true. Well, listen, I mean, when it comes to, there's no nicer guys and better brains in world cricket than Brendan McCullum and Eoin Morgan. They get on really well. So this might just be a really good thing for Kolkata. Yeah. So this discussion, please don't take away from the fact that all three of us here are big fans of the cricketing minds that McCullum and Morgan are. But when news like this happens, it sometimes just takes you by a little surprise in terms of the way the team has been going, which is not that bad, and just the fact that, you know, they're good on the points table. So nothing really, you know, we just didn't see it coming, I guess. So that's the thing. It's the timing is a little weird. So I guess we're questioning that. But what's done is done. What's dusted is dusted. Let's have a look at the teams now. Kolkata has, that's right. We'll just swap it away.
Yeah.
Kolkata has done with their team what Pommy, Harsha and me discussed yesterday, which was this thing that in the last team, when Bangalore added a bowler, Kolkata added a batsman. They dropped a bowler. So now they've done away with Tom Banton. They've got Chris Green in there because they figure that they need their bowlers. They can't put the pressure of 4 from Russell as a given. And they've gone with this Dooley, you like this?
I don't mind it. I wonder whether they could have brought Kuldeep in again on a bigger ground, just give him another opportunity. But yeah, look, the one thing that's quite ironic about the situation is they've just had a suspect action sort of been left out with Sunil Narayan, and they've got another one in Chris Green. I can give you the tip of that. Just keep an eye on him tonight because he fangs that thing. He fangs his Yorkers in at about 110, and there's a suspicion of a bent arm there as well. So, but he's a champion bloke. He's a very good fielder. Can find the boundary at the back end as well. So, you know, he's got some good options. And that's one of the reasons that Kolkata bought him was as a backup player. If the pitches started to turn, he's a very, very good operator. And the fast bowlers, I think they can rotate all of those guys. Krishna, Mavi, Nagakoti, they can rotate those guys regularly. So there's no issue with that.
Yeah, but Joy, I mean, last time, again, there was one of those things where Banton came and they got another, and then the batting order just sort of had to shuffle, and you take Tripathi, who was successful out of his position, and you know that whole confusion begins. So you know that's another thing, that when you try to jam another batsman into what is a very good batting lineup, that can tumble and have a domino effect as well as it perhaps did.
Yeah. Look, that's the one thing that I'm not particularly happy about KKR. Once you've done away with the experiment of, once you've done away with say Sunil Narayan and say, okay, I'm not playing up front, then give one guy a regular slot. You know, this is now a revolving door policy for opening batsmen. Never works. And if you see champion sides in the IPL, they generally tend to have a very solid 1-2-3 because the structure of the game is 1-2-3 gives you the maximum runs. The party can't bat at 7 one day, 1 the other day, 2-4 one day, 1 the other day, then he's out. So that's one. And two is genuinely, I believe that, you know, Prasidh Krishna, Mavi, these are all good bowlers, young bowlers. I would love to see, instead of Green, to get in a Kuldeep Yadav of a class bowler like him. What happens if you play Kuldeep for Chris Green? You bring in Lockie Ferguson, bring in another experienced international bowler. Because what are the problems that KKR has is, why does Russell need to bowl? Because these young kids, if they get hit, it's very difficult. They don't have the experience to be able to consolidate and, you know, get over being hit. It's difficult. You're a young kid. I mean, how much cricket have Mavi and Nagarkoti played? Lockie Ferguson, he gets hit for one. His chances of making a comeback are far higher. So that's the only thing I would have looked at. And I would have said, look, sort this opening batting issue. Yeah. If it's Rahul Tripathi, pat on the back, okay, you're going to play for the rest of this tournament.
I think you've got a really valid point, because then you're going with Dooley, then you're going with Cummins and Ferguson. So you're effectively doing what Delhi is doing with the two South Africans, or what Mumbai is doing with you know, Pattinson and Bolt. And now, of course, Pattinson is not playing today's game. But effectively, if you can give them, right, if you can give Kolkata, you can rattle your opposition with a Cummins and a Lockie Ferguson, you've got 150 bombshells coming at you. It's worked for Delhi.
Yeah, it has. The Kolkata seam attack, the youngsters are good enough, I think. And I agree with what Joy's saying to a point. My only thing is I'm trying to rack my brain, and you guys will know that other international all-rounders in that Kolkata squad. Is there another option for a batsman bowler apart from Chris Green?
Can we bring the squad.
Maybe just have a little look.
Bring the squad.
Work your magic there, GK. And,
there you go.
And just have a look. There we are. Look, overseas all-rounders. No. Ali Khan, he's the only other one that they haven't really tried.
I think Ali Khan's out as well, isn't he?
Is he injured as well?
He's injured,
I think he's injured as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so they didn't have any other options then on that front, other than leave Banton in. So I think they've done the right things. But I would like to have seen Kuldeep back on these bigger grounds with the ball starting to turn. Yeah. Now's the time towards the back end of the tournament where he could win you games, especially against sides with left-handers. He can win you some games. So I wouldn't have minded seeing, and they're not picking Chris Green, I don't think, although he can, they're not picking him to bowl with the new ball, because you don't want to take the new ball away from Cummins and Mavi and allow them just to swing it for the first couple of overs either. So it's another interesting one for me.
Yeah, and if you're not going to give Mavi the new ball, where are you going to bowl him?
Exactly. Why would you play him?
Yeah. Interesting. Well, that's the thing. There are some teams that always evoke that kind of passion. And if you have Joy here, obviously, Kolkata is going to evoke that passion. The selection of the 11. With Mumbai, there's no such problem. So that's why I'll tell you, with your team, I hope you are getting a lot of reactions and a lot of emotions inside you with your team as well. As you saw, Mumbai has made just the one change, but you can make your team on My 11 Circle. Go do it now. My11circle.com. Download the app, choose the game. It's Mumbai playing Kolkata today. East and West, and pick your 11 and try and beat Dada if you can. Just go straight to the Mumbai team. We'll show you the one change that they've made. They're just resting Pattinson. We spoke about this yesterday. I think Pommy and Harsha were both saying that Mumbai may want to, since they are doing well, perhaps just just ease the workload, just distribute it a bit. Dooley, I think as a fast bowler, you like that.
Yeah, no problem with that at all. It is good. I mean, looking forward to Pattinson. He's been so good throughout this the early part of the tournament. Coulton Isle hasn't had a go, has he? Hasn't had a game, so this will be his first one for the 2020 season tonight. They've got quality, and that's what you want. I mean, Bolt's been brilliant for them. Pattinson's been brilliant. They're bringing in another quality international player. Bumrah is back to his best. You look at these numbers for the two overseas quicks. Now, Bolt they traded, and they got Trent Bolt from Delhi in a trade, and Pattinson was a second or third choice replacement, or second choice replacement, wasn't he?
Malinga, yes.
So, yeah, for Malinga. And you look at those numbers, bowling at the start, bowling at the death. They're allowing Bumrah to bowl in the middle and maybe a couple at the death. But these guys are doing a terrific job picking up wickets. So they've got 20 between them and going at that really good economy rate for the start and the end of just on 8. So that's a big reason why Mumbai are doing so well.
Let's show you the points table, and then you can see exactly how well they are doing. You can also see how Kolkata are doing. Obviously, Mumbai and Delhi just having that little tussle on the top. And today, if Mumbai does manage to win, they will go above because their net run rate's just slightly better. But you've got Kolkata there. Kolkata's in 4th position. And if they win the game today, then we've got a 10-point tussle between 3 teams. I mean, more than anything, Kolkata today will want to win healthily. It's tough, Joy. You're playing Mumbai. It's tough because historically this has not been a rivalry. It's not fair to call it a rivalry, is it?
No, absolutely. I have all great memories. I have memories of 2012 beating MI at their ground. But yeah, the numbers certainly suggest that. And even in those
really,
days,
I don't remember that evening. What happened that evening exactly?
You need to ask Shahrukh Khan and the people who run the Wankhede Stadium, because
I was there, by the way. I was right there. Played out in front of me. Played out in front of me. That's all I shall say. Sorry, please.
Yeah.
So you remember that evening, of course.
But traditionally Mumbai has been a very, very tough team for Kolkata, and it is part psychological. You know, we try and say that new teams don't have as many scars because they're new players who've come in, so they don't carry that much history. But let me tell you this in Kolkata's favor. Right now in this match, Mumbai is like the striker who's taking a penalty kick. Everyone will be, if he scores, people will say, yeah, you're meant to score. Kolkata is like the goalkeeper. Okay, you save it, you win this match, people will say, wow, nobody is expecting Kolkata to win this match. All this chaos with this thing, Sunil Narayan out, all this chaos happening, captaincy changes, this, that. Mumbai, a team against which they've lost, their record is 8 and 19 or something. That's my point, that they're like the goalkeeper. If they save it, if they win it by any chance, they have nothing to lose. So I think psychologically, it's not a bad place to be for Kolkata. If you have to play,
that team that in a football sense, you look at football, the team that loses their manager, inevitably, the first game under a caretaker or a new manager, play very, very well. They win. So just be wary. Be wary of Kolkata today.
This United under Ole, is it? What do you know? What do you know? Well, anyway, we have Jasprit Bumrah, who's on our boost stamina meter, and why would he not be? He may not have a long run up, but he is effective, isn't he? This is our leaderboard. Of course, you got KL Rahul, who's right at the top. We've got a few batsmen actually in the top 4. And then there come the quick bowlers right after that in the thick middle with Jofra, Enrique, Trent. And then you have Rabada and Shami coming in as there as well. And of course, Bumrah on our boost stamina meter today. And this is the reason why he's there. Joy, your thoughts on this?
No, absolutely. I think the biggest thing about him is the number of dot balls that he delivers. I mean, on a spell of 24 balls, if you're delivering about 11 balls are dot balls, that's a serious percentage. That means that you're really, really restricting scoring opportunities for the opposing team.
Yeah.
And along with that, if you're a wicket taker, you're gold. So Jasprit Bumrah's greatest capacity is not just that he's such a terrific bowler. What completely blows my mind is how good a bowler he is across 3 formats. And there aren't too many of those.
True. And there is a testing tour coming up for him as well. Now, I know that Ishant is injured and he's probably going to be recovering at NCA, but there's still time before we know whether he will be there or not. But I mean, it doesn't matter. Bumrah's workload is Bumrah's workload, and he is brilliant across all formats. We were just real quick. We were talking about obviously we were talking about Kolkata and their change in captaincy, and Dinesh Karthik has announced he's done it so he can focus on his batting. And Simon Doull has just mentioned that a team with a change in leadership on top ends up doing well in their first game back in the new avatar. So, which is the reason why we've got Dinesh Karthik as our My 11 Circle trump card. We saw this once, right? We saw it against Punjab. This is the last game that they played in Abu Dhabi. They're playing in Abu Dhabi today. That was that 58 of 29 balls, 200 strike rate. Dooley, he was on fire that day. That's the DK we like to see.
Yeah, it is. It's it's the easy DK. Plays shots all around the ground. I think he works the ball through backward point as good as anyone with those Yorkers. He's got a little bit of power. He's a strong character. I'd like to see a settled batting lineup. Now that they've settled on a new captain for Kolkata, and I'm sure you're with me, Joy, I just want to see a very settled top 6. And
tell me what your top 6 is. Tell me what it is. We'll pull the team up for you again.
Well, he's got to come to the Triparty, okay? You've got to come to the Triparty.
Yeah.
Shubman Gill, Nitish Rana, Eoin Morgan, Andre Russell, 5, Dinesh Karthik, 6.
Interesting.
That's my top 6. And DK is there because I'd like to give Russell some time, but I also think that DK is possibly one of the best finishers in that team.
Yeah.
And he can still bat. If you are in trouble, if you're 4 down for 100 with 8 overs to go, 7 overs to go, he can bat those 7 overs as well. I don't want him being out and Andre Russell having to bat those 7 overs and play proper cricket. I want to give Andre Russell more of a license to bat before DK and have DK, Green and Cummins, who can all play after him.
This is so interesting because you're spinning the theory around in his head. You're in a way telling Russell that even if you have to go in the 11th over, you've got DK behind you. So we give you license because Andre Russell has 2 gears. It's 100 or 0, right? So you go 5th gear, overdrive, go at 100, even if you don't get it, because you're not going to get it every day. If it doesn't come off, you've got DK behind you who can play out 9 overs and probably has more dimensions and more strings in his bow as a batsman. It's a very interesting thought.
Joy, isn't it?
No, that's a really interesting thought.
That B is also, DK is also another microwave player. He can heat up very fast. So he again is one of those, 15 ball 5s, 5 ball 15s, 6 ball 17s. He can innovate right at the end. You see the Nidhi trophy. The guy walks in right at the end, gets 7 balls and finishes it for his team. He's very good at that. And that's one of the things, we were talking to him about this Nidhi trophy. And he talked about just that. He said, look, I come into the ground already prepared. He comes primed. DK is one of the few batsmen who doesn't need too many balls to get off. Mentally, when he's there, he's already there to start, moving. Which is why he's absolutely right. Dooley's absolutely right. If he comes in even with 5 balls to spare, he's actually a better player than Russell, because Russell needs 3 balls to see how fast the ball is coming.
Interesting.
He can go from ball 1.
I'm liking this. It's a novel thought. It's spinning it on his head, but I like it. Well done, gentlemen. You have earned your risotto this evening. Risottos for everyone. But if you want 2 risottos and the My 11 Circle badge of honor, then you have to come closest with your guess of what the score shall be when Morgan and his men go out to bat. Abu Dhabi, gentlemen. Put in your numbers. Put in your bids. Put in your bids, gentlemen.
Mr. Kolkata, please.
I'll go 172.
172. That's usually the number I like to go for. I see you're learning from the best. It's the number I won with last night. Well done.
Look, it's new captain time. It's new regime. It's new broom. It's new time for a big score. 187.
Ooh.
So I shall then sit right in the middle.
Oh, no, go low.
180. I said 180. 170, 180. There's enough space. 180. 180. And before we go, of course. Yes, just a little. I mean, honestly, if I put 180 and a half, then I'd be like right in somewhere. Anyway, We have the Joy Factor question, and I'm very happy that Joy is here today and validate my conspiracy theory that when he's here, he has shorter questions. When I have to read them out, they're essays. Show us the question. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, it's an essay for you.
Yeah, it is an essay.
Okay, but it's a good one. The first ever Punjab squad in this event had two players who are currently head coaches, Mahela Jayawardene at Mumbai and Simon at Bangalore. Which team in the first 5 years had two captains and one current head coach from this tournament in their squad? That means it could be, if you give an answer, give me Deccan Chargers 2009, like that. Which squad in which year had two current captains and one current coach?
Can I say, Joy, I think you have to name all the players as well.
Yeah, okay. Name all the players as well.
Yeah, make it as tough as you can. Yeah. Name the three players as well.
And also the average weather and wind speed in that year, the tournament. The exact shade color of their jerseys and the shoe sizes of all the support stuff. That's all we need from you. Send it to us on Twitter at #CricBuzzLive. And I'm still trying to decode it. I feel like this one I can decode.
You can. You will get it.
Yeah.
I don't think any of you want to watch me thinking, because that's a very painful experience. So I shall save you all the trouble. So there's your question. We're getting out of here. We, of course, will see you at the end of the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox. We shall be here with an update during Kolkata's batting. I'd like to thank Joy Bhattacharjya and Simon Doull for joining me. I'm Gaurav Kapur. You were watching My 11th Circle Presents Cricbuzz Live.